How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys, Alex and Ryan. So we are 1 day removed from the trade deadline, and as you guys know, we did jack shit. We didn't do nothing. We did nothing that actually would improve this roster to a degree where we could actually logically think about a World Series appearance, and let alone a playoff appearance. I don't even think we're making the fucking playoffs right now. Excuse my language. I know, Ryan, you're pissed off. I'm pissed off. Everyone is pissed off, and we have good reason to be. Guys, I've been kind of going through and sifting through all the things that Cashman has done over the past 2 years. And aside from getting a couple of really good bullpen pieces, which I think is more Matt Blake than anything else, because, he knows what he wants. He goes out and says, these are the guys I like. See if he can get them. And I think that he has managed to find some good pieces. But the bigger deals that Cashman has made, and I think those ones that aren't like the low-key supplementary pieces, but more so like the guys that are like Josh Donaldson or Frankie Montas, I think those are more his doing. It's safe to say that we have seen some of the worst trades this organization has made over the past 2 years, and they have completely put us in the wrong direction. Those two trades, acquiring Montas to give us nothing this year, and then Donaldson and IKF, and IKF was always supposed to be a supplementary piece until Anthony Volpe got elevated, and then Josh Donaldson was like, let's see if he has anything left at 36 fucking years old. These are things that, we were trying to see if we could save our team or inject some experience into it or whatever. But the truth of the matter is, Gio Urshela has been better than Josh Donaldson. I mean, Gary Sanchez is gone. So I'd say like that trade is probably a net wash, probably actually more advantageous for the Twins because Josh Donaldson came with $50 million that stopped us apparently from doing anything. Brian Cashman said yesterday they were restrained by their luxury tax situation, the salary situation. So, we can assume that this is his own doing. All of the things that he said were done by him. IKF coming out and saying, like, the players got to play better. We have to take responsibility. That's nonsense. And I respect IKF for coming out and defending Cashman in the front office, but they don't even deserve that. Like, IKF has been such a good dude and, like, done whatever it's needed. Like, I respect him for all that he's offered us. But Cashman is the person making the calls, making the decisions. And at this point in time, we need to think about what the future looks like because we only made two moves, bullpen arms. We're going to talk about those guys, of course, but we're also going to talk about where this team looks like it's going because right now, there is no intention of calling up the prospects. While Cashman is doing his interview, the Yankees, specifically his $162 million starting pitcher, Carlos Rodon, gave up 4 earned runs over the first 3 innings. And while he's talking, the Yankees are getting absolutely body bagged again. You put in Giancarlo Stanton with a chance to tie the game, he strikes out, doesn't even look competitive. I don't know what else to say. This team is a product of poor management, poor construction, and I hate it when players are taking the blame for stuff that is not their fault. IKF has never been a great player. He's actually having like one of his best offensive seasons, but the truth of the matter still stands. Cashman is the one that went out and acquired these guys. Cashman is the one that gave up prospects for them. But then suddenly, we don't want to use our fucking prospects, but meanwhile, we won't even use them in trades. Make it make sense, Ryan. I don't understand. The logic here is flawed. I'm confused. And I really don't know. Like, all we're asking for is a plan of action. All we're asking for is for Cashman to say, this is what we want to do. We want to go into the offseason, give our prospects some opportunity towards the end of the season here, see what we got if things don't go as well as we want. And then we'll see where we go from there. Like, go into free agency, upgrade the spots we need to do. That's a good plan enough for me. See the prospects, upgrade in free agency, and at least you have something to say about it, something to say about improving the roster. Instead, it's like, we're still in it to win it. We still have a chance. We're getting back 2 guys who we view as trades, Jonathan Loaisiga and Nestor Cortez. And at that point, Ryan, I'm going to let you talk on that. The fact that they think that is considered big trades, that the Yankees are suddenly going to get better from 2 pitchers coming back.
I think ultimately this deadline was one of the biggest blemishes on Brian Cashman's career, and really one of the biggest blemishes any GM could have on their career, which is a deadline where you clearly can't do nothing. You either sell or buy. And they do nothing. Now, people are going to compare this deadline to the 2019 one. I don't think that's a fair comparison. In 2019, obviously, not only were the Yankees clearly going to win the AL East, but that team actually had like a lot of guys hurt that were legitimate reinforcements. Like that year, the idea that Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Luis Severino, like James Paxton, guys like that coming back were going to help the team. Those were true statements, right? Like really, the thing that undid them was not having enough starting pitching, which was partly because Domingo Germán got suspended that year. But ultimately speaking, that team was really good, and they just didn't buy. Right? Like that It's not great, obviously, but that team was still very good, right? This team had two angles to take, buy or sell. The only thing a selling team cannot do, or a team that is thinking about selling cannot do, is do nothing, because they're likely not good enough to make the playoffs on their own. And by doing nothing, they don't capitalize on a year where they don't make the playoffs. The Yankees didn't know what they were doing. Mark Craig of The Athletic tweeted out, or I don't know if he's still at The Athletic. He tweeted out that, executives were saying that the Yankees were frustrating to negotiate with because they were not sure if they were going to buy or sell. It was August 1st. How do you not know if you're going to buy or sell? And the quote, this is a dumb quote, and this is how you know Brian Cashman's a bad GM right now. I didn't like the offers that were on the table. We were seeing top 10 organizational guys get traded for relievers. The Angels traded one of their 15 best prospects, which I know that farm system sucks, but still, for Dominic Leone. Dominic Leone, that's not a good reliever, right? Like, that's an okay pitcher. That's a guy with some years of control that can be, the Albert Abreu of that bullpen. You mean to tell me that if you ate the salary on Wandy Peralta, that if you offered him to someone that they weren't going to give you like the 30th or, a 30th and a 21st ranked prospect, let's say 30th and 28th, I'll take that over nothing. You're not bringing Wandy Peralta back. You're not bringing IKF back. You're not bringing Harrison Bader back. I don't know if Domingo Germán's going to have a spot in this rotation next year. Why are they still here? I mean, Alex, did you see the packages these people are getting for these relievers? Like, you mean to tell me you didn't even think about trading one of them? The Yankees can replace relievers like nothing, and they also have Scott Efros coming back next year. So they could have taken advantage of the fact that, hey, you know what? Like, let's say we bank on a Ron Marinaccio bounce back. We keep Hamilton, we keep Ramirez, or maybe you look at Hamilton or King or one of those type of guys, or maybe even Canley if you don't want to go too extreme here, and move one of them and get a decent haul back, get something back for them. That would have been nice. Harrison Bader, teams were looking for outfielders, and there was a lack of bats. It was so bad that Teoscar Hernandez was a coveted bat on the market. He's been terrible this year. I think he leads the league in strikeouts, and his WRC plus is well under 100, and he's not a defensive guy. You mean to tell me Harrison Bader wouldn't have had any value on this market? That's BS to me. Even if you got, let's say, just the number 20 prospect and number 21 prospect for Harrison Bader, that's a massive win. If you just get one prospect for Bader, that's a massive win because you're getting something instead of nothing. And that's really my big thing here. Last year, Clayton Beeter was a nobody to a lot of people. Last year, Clayton Beeter really didn't matter to Yankee fans. And look at what he's become now. He represented the Yankees at the MLB Futures game. I don't know if he'll be a major league starter, but I'm pretty sure he'll be a nasty reliever. So ultimately, the Yankees process is fundamentally flawed. And you're wearing a Giants jersey right now, so I really want to reference this. This feels like a Dave Gettleman move. This feels like we think we're better than we actually are. This is the equivalent to we're drafting Saquon Barkley because we think we can compete, right? But the difference is at least Saquon Barkley is a good player. They didn't do anything. They brought in Kenyon Middleton, right? Kenyon Middleton is an okay reliever, but he's a rental. Like, if this was a guy for 2.5 years, okay, like, I could see it. Like, I kind of like the Spencer Howard pickup because it's just for cash. He throws hard. I think the AAA balls are juiced, and it's affecting the vertical movement on his pitches. So, ultimately, I think there's something there to really like, but that's in tandem with other moves. The deadline is an F, but ultimately, Alex, I just feel like there's no direction right now. And as you referenced to, are they going to call up their prospects? I don't know. Peraza should be here, right? If you're not sure about Gleyber's future in New York, why do I not know about whether his replacement's good or not? You have from August to September to create some good competition. Hey, Torres, LeMahieu, Peraza, we're going to throw you guys all out there. We're going to see which one of you guys stick. Also puts pressure on Rizzo because if he doesn't hit, LeMahieu can always play first base. Bowers, he's been a revelation. Let him play first. The Yankees are so stuck in their own ways. Rizzo has to hit fourth or third. LeMahieu has to play every day. They can't go to Peraza. Bowers can't play first base. That's so dumb to me. Shake things up. This team stinks. I'm done with Buddy. I'm done with, this guy's reliable. None of these guys are good enough outside of Aaron Judge to keep their jobs full time. So that's where I'm at with this team. They don't have a direction, and I'm sorry, but I don't like calling for jobs. Brian Cashman has to go. He has to.
Yeah, I mean, look, right now it's hard to sit here and justify anything that Cashman's done, at least over the past couple years. Now, look, when you have $300 million to spend, and you have one of the best farm systems in the game, or at least, look, Ryan, I'd say you and I probably know more about our farm system than the average fan. So if you are an average fan and you don't know much about it, we have a very good farm system. We have a lot of really good prospects, a lot of really good players. The problem is we don't give them chances to actually play. And when we do, we abuse them. Peraza has been situationally abused this season. They call him up, they send him down, they call him up. Meanwhile, and this is the logic that really pisses me off, they actively come out and said, we haven't even seen Josh Donaldson get 100 at-bats yet. We want to see more of a sample size. But they won't even do that for a guy who could have long-term implications on your team in Oswald Peraza. They refuse to give him 100 at-bats. They keep sending him back down. They don't care. They see the Gold Glove caliber defense, yet they don't give a crap. They keep sending him back down. Donaldson ends up playing every day, and then he gets hurt, and now he's done for the season. Won't see him again. He said he wants to return this year. If I see Josh Donaldson manning third base, I'm legit not watching games anymore. I legit, look, we record, we talk about, we make content for a living on this Yankee team, and we will continue to do that. But I will just watch the freaking highlights because I can't watch Josh Donaldson. I mean, what's the point? What is the point? And that's the thing, is that the Yankees don't do anything with a good point. Nothing has logic behind it. Nothing has good idea behind it. Look, at this point in the season, you're dropping down the rankings like a freaking boulder. You're 11 games back in the AL East. I don't think I've seen the Yankees 11 games back in the AL East since before I was freaking born. Probably not even before that. I can't even recall the last time I saw the Yankees 11 games back in the AL East. I don't remember it. In the wild card, they're 3.5 games back. Everyone at the top of the wild card got better, guys. Everybody. The Blue Jays got more talent. The Rays got better. The Houston Astros got Justin Verlander back. We are not making the freaking playoffs this year. Right ahead of us, the Los Angeles Angels, Shohei Ohtani. They kept him, and they went out and got more pieces. Guys, there is no way we're making the playoffs. There's not a chance. Unless we go on the hottest stretch that you've ever seen, and everyone but Aaron Judge starts to elevate their game, all you have to do is pitch around Aaron Judge, and you're going to win. You're going to beat the Yankees. You're going to win. Like, Jonathan Loáisiga and Nestor Cortez is our primary trades. Like... The lack of brain cells that you would have to justify these claims, I don't really know what to say. You know what I mean? And we'll take a little detour here, talk about the relief pitchers that the Yankees brought in. And Cashman had the audacity to say that we got a little bit better with Middleton and Howard. I mean, just spare me, please. Just spare me. Middleton, hard thrower, 3.96 ERA, 3.34 xFIP, 82.1% left on base rate, 51.6% ground ball rate. Over 36.1 innings, high strikeout guy, gives up a lot of homers, gives up a lot of walks. You're hoping that Matt Blake can turn him into something like a lot better. He's a fine bullpen piece, but he's not great. He has a changeup, slider, four-seam fastball. He's not a sinker guy. You look at his changeup, it's a really, really good pitch. 217 batting average, 35.5 whiff rate, and his four-seam fastball, 138 average, good fastball. His slider, could use a little bit of improvement, but, this is a guy that he's fine. I don't even know. You give up one Corella for him. What's the point here? Like, what's really, like, do we need more bullpen pieces? Do we need to give up a nice budding prospect at 21 years old, performing well in Hudson Valley, about to get a promotion? Like, was it necessary? Spencer Howard, like you said, former top prospect, riddled with injuries in the past. The Yankees are betting on the upside here. 27 years old. He's been freaking god-awful when he's actually been in the MLB, but you're hoping that Matt Blake can go out and actually exercise some of this stuff. Has a slider, four-seam fastball, changeup repertoire. His slider, 51.3% usage, 125 batting average. He has an excellent slider. So now it's kind of about, I guess, adding that four-seam, that fastball slider combination, seeing if you can play off those two pitches and use that tunneling concept. But Ryan, what are your thoughts on these two bullpen arms? I mean, it doesn't actually move. It doesn't move the needle at all. But meanwhile, I want to break it down for you guys so you know what we got.
Yeah, I get, like, Juan Corella was a Rule 5 eligible guy. I think they just traded him just so they don't lose him for nothing. And from a process standpoint, sure. But as you mentioned, like, it's really hard to talk, like, and I feel bad for Spencer Howard because, like, it's going to be really hard to talk about that move without being like, but that's all they really did outside of, and it was him and Kenyon Middleton. Like, it's like in a vacuum, these are, like, on their own, they're like solid pickups. Like, Middleton, is a solid reliever and he has some upside, right? Like, if the Yankees got a left fielder and a third baseman and then got Middleton and Howard, you'd be like, okay, this is a deadline. Or if the Yankees, they acquired some prospects and then they sent Corella out just to get, clear up some space for the Rule 5, and then they acquired Howard, you're like, okay, they sold. They brought in, like, Howard. They brought in Middleton. They brought in some prospects. Like, I had said this on the space I did yesterday on the Fireside Yankees Twitter account. If the Yankees traded Bader, IKF, Wandy, and Herman, and they netted, like, 3 guys in the top 30, could be, like, in the 20 to 30 range, and, like, a top 40 guy, And then you have the inclusion of Spencer Howard in there. Like, that's a nice haul. That's okay. That's better than nothing. And ultimately Howard has a lot of upside, right? Like, the 4-seam fastball is pretty good. It has a good amount of ride. I believe it has like a 117 stuff plus. His changeup's pretty okay. His slider's a pitch that I think, there's something there. The real issue here is he doesn't get chases. He's in the zone pretty frequently, actually, despite the walk rate. Like, he has a really high first pitch strike percentage, really high in zone strike percentage, but he's below average in chases and below average in whiffs. That's telling me that, there, in my head, I would imagine that he's struggling to get guys out, in the sense of there are guys who are more prone to chase on vertical movement and then on horizontal movement. And Spencer Howard really doesn't have anything that helps him from a horizontal profile perspective. And the Yankees have been really good with sweepers. Maybe they include a cutter, whatever it may be. Righties have really teed off of him in his career. They, especially this year, they have a 421 WOBA. Lefties actually perform a little bit worse against Howard. So that does kind of benefit, or not benefit, but that kind of does support my theory that Howard is a guy who has really good vertical profiles and vertical tunnels, but he's really struggling from a horizontal standpoint. I think there's a lot to like in Howard's profile. Like, I actually really like the fact that they picked him up. It's just that they didn't do anything else. Like, that's the real thing that gets to me. I think Howard could be like a reliable major league reliever. Like, I think that's the ceiling for him, and a multi-inning guy at that. Like, he's still got the starters build up. I don't think he's going to ever be a major league starter, nor do I think the reps will ever be there for him at the major league level. But maybe in AAA they build him up. Maybe they throw him into that rotation. But I think you could look at him to fight for a job in 2024 in the bullpen. And we know how the Yankees are with relievers. Like, I trust Matt Blake and Sam Breen with my life. Like, if they asked me, like, they're like, you know what, we like something in your profile, Ryan, go pitch for us. I'd assume, like, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to be a major league pitcher. They can turn anyone into a major league quality pitcher. We saw Ryan Weber, Nick Ramirez. Like, these guys are throwing big time innings and getting big time outs. So I actually like the acquisition of Howard. All you had to do was give up cash. So that's really it. It's a bad deadline. Like, it's still a bad, like, it doesn't matter how good Howard is. It's a bad deadline, right? Like, it's a bad process. But at least Matt Blake, they get someone to work with. I don't really know if Middleton's going to impact his team very much. At least it saves innings on some other guys' arms. I'm still frustrated they didn't move a reliever. I thought they should have. This was the market to do it. Like, I love Ian Hamilton. I love Michael King. I love guys like Tommy Canley. Marnaccio stock is down. I get keeping him. But you could have gotten something really nice for one of those guys. Especially, I think you could have gotten something really good for Michael King on this market. He's very comparable to Paul Sewald. Imagine if the Yankees got a major league bat and like two decent prospects for Michael King. Like, that would have been awesome. The Yankees would, like, you replace him with Efros next year. Like, I'm looking at the reliever depth chart. They're going to have to move one of these guys, multiple of these guys. You mean to tell me you couldn't move one of them? It's just crazy to me. But end of the day, Howard, I like to pick up. Middleton, solid reliever. Howard's more of the guy that I'm going to be paying attention to just because he's here beyond this year and Middleton isn't. So yeah, probably going to have an article on him at some point. I'm actually pretty excited about Spencer Howard, but everything else, that line just sucked.
Yeah, I mean, my question is, like, why even get Middleton if he's going to be gone? Like, you're getting Loizaga back, right? Like, you didn't move Wandy, you didn't move anybody. You still have Albert Abreu. I guess, like, maybe he's the odd man out here. But the truth is, it wasn't enough, and it wasn't even close to enough. And look, Cashman said, like, we could have been sellers. We weren't getting the right returns for what we had, but that's where I get confused, Ryan. Like, and I'll end it on this kind of note, this kind of segment. I want to ask you one more question. In that, the Yankees are probably not making the playoffs. The Cubs have a better chance of making the postseason than the Yankees do. You could have gotten literally anything in return for Harrison Bader would have been fine, right? You call up Estevan Florial, you call up Everson Pereira, you call up anybody, because at this point the season's over. It's done. This way we just want to see younger guys. We want to see youth. You call up some of your young guys, see what they can do at the MLB level, and that's kind of what you call up Matt Crook, let him keep competing, let him get some more innings under his belt and out of the bullpen. There's opportunities here to see what you have in some of these players, but instead, like, we decided not to get anything in return for Bader, who's a bad offensive player. Nothing. We didn't even. I mean, we could have tried to offload Severino, but like, who really wants him right now? That's a good question to ask. You could have tried to offload Herman. Someone would have paid something for Herman for sure. Like, Herman's he's not very consistent, but when he's pitching well, the guy is very good. So I feel like could have been some value there. You're getting Nestor Cortez back. One of these guys have to go anyway. Like who's gonna get dropped? If they drop Clark Schmidt, I'm gonna freaking throw a brick through the Yankee Stadium wall. I don't really get what they're gonna do here. I mean, what do you think? Severino's got to go, right? Severino's got to be dropped to the bullpen. How do you manage that?
It has to be Luis Severino. And if they're going to say, like, Clark, like, they're going to manage Clark Schmidt's innings, I think he's going to get, like, a bump down to the bullpen or something at some point. But, like, you do that for, like, Randy Vasquez to get a couple starts just to, like, take some pressure off of Schmidt's arm. Severino's got to get out the rotation. He sucks. I love Severino. He's my guy, but he's not good right now. I don't think he's ever going to be good again. And he's a rental. Like, at this point, he's a rental. Like, he's only here for the rest of the year. It's not like you're trying to work on some things with him for next year. Just cut bait. You could DFA him if you'd like to open up a roster spot at some point during this. He's not good. Like, the Yankees are like, oh, should he start against Houston? No, clearly he fucking shouldn't. Like, they're gonna act like if they pitch him against Houston, if they start him against Houston, man, they got some problems, dude. Like, I already think we've bottomed out in terms of like organizational process. Like, it's as bad as it's ever been, but that would be like a slap in the face. Like, that would just like further add insult to injury. So take him out the rotation. When Schmidt's innings, when he needs to start managing it, let Vasquez get some starts. I do want to see Vasquez. I want to know what he is. And really, I think that's the objective of the season now. Like, you just kind of hope that you get to see certain guys that are younger and so that you can have something to watch for. And you kind of hope that Brian Cashman doesn't have his job at the end of the year. Like, I don't like calling for people's jobs, but he can't have his job at the end of the season. I'm sorry. No, like this is the worst thing you could have done, and this is the one thing he did. He has to go. It's over. It's over.
It's over, but at the same time, like, they just extended him on a 4-year contract, so you're going to have to pay him for 4 more years. And Steinbrenner pinching pennies right now he's not going to do it. Like, apparently Judge and Cole love Boone, which is fine. Like, I think that with better roster construction, Boone could be a fine manager. I think that, yes, he makes some bad decisions every now and then that stand out, but otherwise, like, what can you do? Like, he can't hit for Stanton. Stanton's supposed to be a tremendous player that takes your offense to another level. He can't hit for DJ LeMay, who's struggling this year. He can't hit for some of these guys. What can you do? Like, you could argue, like, motivate them, but, like, it only goes so far. They have to do it. They actually have to hit the ball and make plays. With a good roster, I feel like maybe that there is opportunity here for Boone to be a good manager. And, we've seen last year, we talked about a really good season. I think that the team was fine. But, like, you're right. I mean, look, Cashman's got to be the one that takes it on the chin. Cashman's got to be the one that takes the responsibility. And he doesn't look worried at all. Like, did you see him yesterday? His attitude, his perspective, the vibe from him, like, he didn't even feel like he cared. Like, it felt like it was just another day at the office. Like, oh, yep, my team's shit in the bed. It's all good. We didn't do anything because there was nothing there. There was no urgency. The word you yesterday used was urgency. And that's what I didn't hear from him. There was nothing of the sort like, we need to be better. Like, I need to be better. We missed on some trades. We're trying to formulate a new plan. We're trying to incorporate new things. We're going to try and see what we got from these young pieces the rest of the way. Like, why lie to us? You know what I mean? Like, why do the Yankees continue to lie to us? Whether it's injuries, whether it's their plan, what they want to do. Nobody's scared of them anymore. Who are they trying to hide information from? The Rays don't give a shit about them. The Orioles are like, we're going to be the top of the division for the next 10 years, and the Yankees are going to be sitting there scratching their head, wondering what the hell happened. And even the Red Sox don't give a shit. No one is scared about the Yankees. No one cares what Brian Cashman is doing. Nobody. So why are they lying to us, the people that actually are invested in this team? Why are they hiding all the information from us? Give us the plan. What's the plan here? What's the plan to turn this thing around? Keeping it secret doesn't do you any favors. If you say you're going to, see what you got from some young pieces, what harm does that do? You know what I mean? Like, what does that do? Nobody cares if Jake Bauers doesn't play. Nobody cares if Billy McKinney doesn't play. Nobody cares if IKF sits on the bench. Nobody cares about that. No one cares if Rizzo, gets replaced by Andre fucking Chaparro. Nobody cares. You know what I mean? Like, the team is washed right now. Like, if they somehow pull it off and turn it around, it would be the biggest miracle I've seen in a long time. Because right now, the gauntlet of teams ahead of them in the wild card is making it basically, they have maybe a 5% chance of making the playoffs. It's just, teams don't just turn it around overnight. Baseball is a game of ebbs and flows, but it takes momentum, and the Yankees don't have any. They don't score more than 3 or 4 runs a day. It's a rarity if they do. So guys, I'd love to hear your perspectives. Obviously, we're very frustrated. I know you guys are feeling a similar way. Always happy to hear your perspectives down in the YouTube comments. As always, make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.